Hello, this is week 3 now. We come to a new phase of the course. Last week on week 2, we had church history and the developments of the Nicene Creed. And now we're moving on to what is called cultural apologetics. So what that entails is now, as Christians, how do we begin to incorporate the truths of Christianity into the culture that we live in? So we are to in Christianity, we're to not only renew ourselves in our own mind by shaping ourselves to the truth of God, but we are now to be able to disseminate that to others. And so the question is, how do you begin to incorporate these changes into the society in which we live? We don't choose the society or time in which we're born, but regardless of the context that we're given, we are expected to be able to bring the truth to bear in this different context. So this week will be an exercise in that. You have Len Mansol's book, and that is an attempt of being able to inspire and to inform our minds as to how to go ahead and proceed in doing these tasks. That is this field in apologetics per se, it is a growing field. It's something that as our culture become more and more secularized, and we encounter cultures around the world in the last 100 years, Christians have been confronted with that question more prominently, and that is, what is the difference between a Christian culture and a non-Christian culture? What are the tenets? What distinguishes us? And of course, there are several factors that you can think about when confronting culture, and that is our view of the human person is something that distinguishes Christians from non-Christians. We believe we're made in the image of God. We also believe that we are individual human beings responsible before God for our behavior, our word, thoughts, and deeds. And as such, then, we can make a difference. We are not what's called fatalistic. We are not doomed to a predestined end that is apart from our choices and our desires. So even those who believe in predestination in the Christian faith believe that it is not apart from the decisions that we make and the beliefs that we hold that things come to pass. So we as Christians believe that although God knows the future and He is aware of that, and He has ordained it to be the way it is still in conformity with our actions that comes to pass in our desires and our beliefs. And so as Christians, then we have a sense of different institutions that were established by God which are legitimate. We can number the state will be one institution, which was imposed by God after the fall to restrain sin and to punish crime. The family was there from the beginning. It's not instituted by the state. It is a separate institution that is connected with the origin of our being, which is through the procreative act of our father and mother, and then also the nourishing of our being as well as our intellectual development falls within the confines of the family. And then you have the church, which is likewise a distinct institution that is established for being the pillar and ground of the truth. So the church does not have the power of coercion. The church cannot use force. That is something that is given to the state. And so we as believers and as members of the church are now to reflect upon what is our role as churchmen and churchwomen in this society in which we live, 21st century America in our case, and how can we begin to speak this truth? And that is where I think you will be assigned this week for your assignment to incorporate culture with your truth, and that is using a format called VoiceThread. You're going to give a 10-minute presentation. There are instructions laid out for you on this week's materials needed for success. There is a video developed. And what you're going to do is think about your specific framework where the Lord has placed you at this time, and analyze the areas in which you can begin to incorporate that truth. How can you begin to be a beacon of light in the midst of it? What kind of questions, what kind of changes can you make to your life that would enable you to serve more faithfully in this given context? So it is an exercise in wisdom, in discerning how to best utilize your time and the resources the Lord has given you and the relationships He's gifted with and the institutions around you, so that you can begin to make a change in that culture. So it's a 10-minute assignment. So I would encourage you to reflect on that, given that is part of the Great Commission and part of our desire to serve God. So in cultural apologetics, then, that is the intent is that of transforming the culture, of bringing the truth to bear, and of renewing our minds and the minds of others, so that we may be shaped up in the image of Christ. Also, the Zoom meeting for this week, I will be sending it out. It will be most likely this Tuesday. We had a 100% increase in attendance. We went from one of you guys showing up to now 2. So that is, I will take it. Great blessing to speak to you. So I hope you're able to show up and ask your questions, both content as well as procedures for the class and assignments, and hope we can work together to provide you with a good value education. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a blessed week. Bye-bye.